1,000 Pounds Sisters Season 8 Bombshell. Tammy Slaton hospitalized after painful cancer battle confirmed. The Kentucky sun beat down on the Slaton family home, but inside, the atmosphere was anything but warm. Season 8 of 1,000 Pounds Sisters was supposed to be a celebration. After years of struggling, Tammy Slaton had finally done the impossible. She'd shed over 500 pounds. She'd undergone the grueling skin removal surgery, and she had even found new love with her fiancé, Andrea Dalton. It should have been a season of triumph. But reality TV doesn't thrive on peace. It thrives on conflict. And there was a new, sharp edge to the relationship between the two sisters who had once been inseparable. "I feel like we're drifting apart," Amy admitted in a confessional, her voice heavy with a sadness she couldn't quite mask. "She used to be my best friend." The weight loss that had saved Tammy's life had, in a cruel twist, created a new kind of distance between them. For years, their bond had been forged in the fire of shared trauma, poverty, obesity, and a codependency that had become their norm. Now, Tammy was no longer the sister who needed Amy. The family dynamics were shifting. Amanda and Misty, who had always been pillars of support, watched the tension with a mixture of concern and helplessness. The old familiar roles were being rewritten, and not everyone was adapting well. One fan on a discussion forum perceptively noted, "It also doesn't help that her sibling rivalry with Tammy is really clear to see now that Tammy has accomplished weight loss success. The superiority she felt is no longer reality as Tammy no longer leans on her for help as much as she did at 700+ pounds. To understand the bombshell that would drop the season, you have to understand the hell Tammy crawled out of. At her heaviest, she was a prisoner in her own body, weighing in at a staggering 725 pounds. She was confined to a wheelchair, reliant on an oxygen machine, and staring down the barrel of a death sentence. In November 2021, she was rushed to the hospital after her lungs began to fail. She had suffered from carbon monoxide poisoning and was diagnosed with obesity hypoventilation syndrome, a condition where her body wasn't getting enough oxygen. She was placed in a medically induced coma. Her sister Amy later revealed, her body shut down. She was given a tracheotomy, an opening in her throat just to keep her breathing. "It was basically a wake-up call," Tammy reflected later. "I needed to get to 550 pounds for me to be approved for surgery. Until then, I hated getting on a scale. My worst fear is gaining weight. I don't want to disappoint my family or myself." When she finally stepped on the scale, the doctor revealed she weighed 534 pounds, 16 pounds below her goal. Her sister Amanda gasped, "Are you serious? For real? Tammy, you see that?" Tammy admitted, "When I got on the scale and saw it was at 534.7, I kinda stopped breathing for a second. From over 700, that's a huge drop. I did that. I'm feeling thrilled, proud, excited, just all the emotions. I proved everybody wrong. Everybody that doubted me. I finally got mine. My told you so moment." The bombshell drops. Tammy hospitalized and a cancer battle confirmed. Just as the season was filming the happily ever after chapter, a chilling series of events began to unfold. The atmosphere shifted from triumphant to terrifying. The family was filming a promotional segment for the new season, with Tammy looking radiant and healthy when the first rumors began to swirl. Online chatter exploded with speculation. Tammy Slaton rushed to the hospital. Some claimed she had been in a terrible car crash. But the whispers were far more sinister. A rumor, originating from a Facebook post, spread like wildfire, claiming Tammy's life was hanging in the balance. The production crew went silent, and fans grew frantic. One piece of news, however, proved devastatingly real. The Slaton family was rocked to its core when their cousin, Katie Slaton, tragically passed away. Katie, who had appeared in Season 5 of the show, had been battling stage 4 gastric adenocarcinoma, an aggressive and rare form of stomach cancer. She was just 37 years old. It was Amanda Halterman who broke the heartbreaking news to the world. On Instagram, she posted, "It is with a broken heart I have to write this. My precious cousin passed away yesterday." She was one you could count on, and was full of love and life. She was my best friend. A source close to the family revealed to us that the news of Katie's death had a profound and terrifying impact on Tammy. Tammy and Katie had grown up together, the source said. They were more like sisters. To see cancer take Katie, who was so young and full of life, it shook Tammy to her core. She started having severe panic attacks. The stress of filming, the fracturing relationship with Amy, and the heartbreak of losing Katie became too much for Tammy's body to handle. The psychological torment triggered a physical breakdown. Rumors began to surface on social media that Tammy herself had been hospitalized, not for a car crash, but for a terrifying cancer scare of her own. The bombshell was undeniable. Tammy Slaton had been admitted to the hospital for a series of tests and emergency treatment related to a suspected cancer battle. A production source confirmed the details. Tammy was admitted to the hospital in the middle of filming. She was having severe abdominal pains. The doctors were terrified the cancer that took Katie might have been hereditary. They rushed her into testing. The family was a wreck. They had already lost Caleb, her husband, just a couple of years before. They couldn't lose Tammy, too. The panic was palpable. The family was once again gathered in the waiting room of the hospital, a scene eerily reminiscent of the days when they feared she wouldn't survive her weight loss surgery. The cameras, per the crew's protocol, were rolling, capturing the raw, unscripted emotion of a family facing the unthinkable. This was a far cry from the celebratory season they had been promised. The fear of losing Tammy to cancer or a health crisis was made worse by the recent shadow of death that haunted the family. Just months before the Season 8 premiere, tragedy struck the Slaton family, but it was not Tammy. Their cousin, Katie, passed away. This wasn't the first time tragedy had hit the family. In 2023, Tammy's husband, Caleb Willingham, passed away at the age of 40. Their relationship had been a whirlwind. They met in rehab and got married in November 2022. But the weight of his own morbid obesity proved too much for his heart. His loss sent Tammy into a spiral, and she revealed she was in a new relationship as she tried to rebuild her life. This season also forced a difficult look back at the dark period that almost claimed Tammy's life before her weight loss. When she was at her lowest, she was drinking heavily. When asked by her doctor, Dr. Eric Smith, how much she was drinking, she awkwardly admitted, maybe 8 bottles a week. When asked to clarify, like fifths of liquor? The implication was clear. Dr. Smith was alarmed. Tammy's doing a lot of partying, which raises a concern for me, he said. That alone is putting her in severe danger. Tammy admitted she was battling mental health issues, including depression, big time. Back in the hospital room, the doctor's face was grim. The tests on Tammy were inconclusive. While the specific cancer markers for the type that killed Katie weren't immediately present, the doctors found other, equally alarming abnormalities. They found a mass, a tumor, that wasn't cancerous, but was causing a dangerous blockage. They confirmed she had to be hospitalized immediately for an emergency procedure. The cancer battle confirmed part of the rumor was a terrifying mistake in the rumor mill, but the trauma of the scare and the physical reality of her hospitalization were real. As cameras captured the moment, the family was told Tammy would be on a feeding tube and strict bed rest for at least a week. The news brought the family together, but it also exposed the deep fractures that had been forming. Amy's reaction was the most telling. Sitting in the corner of the waiting room, her face was a mask of guilt. "This is what I was afraid of," she said, her voice barely a whisper. She wanted to do everything on her own. She wanted to be independent. I was trying to tell her she was pushing herself too hard. I didn't know how to reach her anymore. I felt like I was losing my sister again, but this time, it wasn't to food. It was to life. The bombshell of the season wasn't just that Tammy was sick, it was that she was doing it alone. When she was in the hospital, her fiancé, Andrea Dalton, was by her side. The family dynamic had changed. The sisters who once relied on each other for survival were now navigating a new, treacherous landscape of pride, jealousy, and fear. One fan observed the change in the family, noting the sibling rivalry. "The family is so proud of Tammy, made my heart smile, But it doesn't help that her sibling rivalry with Tammy is really clear to see now that Tammy has accomplished weight loss success. The told so moment Tammy had basked in had created a new reality. She was the strong one, the independent one. And that independence was what was putting her in the hospital. The drama surrounding Tammy's health and the emotional upheaval within the family has led to widespread speculation. Could this be the end of 1,000-pound sisters? With Tammy having achieved her weight loss goals and the season mired in such heavy, real-life trauma, many believe the show is reaching its natural conclusion. Some sources even hint that Tammy may leave the show for good. Rumors are swirling that the TLC star might quietly step away from reality TV to focus on her new marriage and her health. If Tammy, the show's biggest star, walks away, the future of the series is in jeopardy. Adding fuel to the fire is the fact that a promotional material for a potential Season 9 has been released, but the actual production and filming details remain murky. While Season 8 promised to explore her new life with Andrea and their relationship growing pains, the reality of filming a show where the star almost died might be too much for producers to stomach. The season ends on a cliffhanger. We see Tammy being discharged from the hospital. She is weak but determined. She looks at the camera and says, "I've survived so much. I'm not going to let this beat me. I didn't come all this way to fall down now." But the final scene isn't a triumphant return home. It's a quiet moment between Tammy and Amy, the first time they've really looked at each other all season. The script is unscripted, the emotion real. This is the heart of the show. Two sisters who have been through hell together, trying to find their way back to each other. The Bombshell was a grim, terrifying reminder of how fragile life is and how fragile their sisterhood still remains. The fluorescent lights of the Kentucky hospital buzzed with an unforgiving hum. The Slaton family had gathered in the same waiting room where they'd spent countless hours over the years, first praying for Tammy to survive her weight loss surgery, then mourning the loss of her husband Caleb, and now, facing yet another crisis. Amanda Halterman paced back and forth, her phone pressed tightly to her ear. She was on the line with Misty, trying to coordinate the chaotic flow of information. "No, Misty, they still haven't given us a clear diagnosis. They found something. That's all we know right now." Chris Combs, ever the rock of the family, sat with his head in his hands. His shoulders shook with silent sobs. "I can't do this again," he whispered to no one in particular. "I can't watch her go through this again." Amy Slaton Foley sat apart from the group, her eyes swollen from crying. She clutched a cold cup of coffee that she hadn't touched in hours. Her husband, Michael, was notably absent. Their marriage had been crumbling behind the scenes, and the stress of Tammy's hospitalization had only widened the rift between them. Dr. Sarah Chin, the oncology specialist who had been assigned to Tammy's case, emerged from the double doors with a clipboard in her hand. The family rose as one, a wave of anxiety washing over them. "Family of Tammy Slaton?" Dr. Chin called out. "That's us," Chris said, stepping forward. "How is she? What's going on?" Dr. Chin motioned for them to sit down. Her face was professional but kind, the kind of kindness that comes from delivering difficult news too many times. "Tammy is stable," she began, and the family collectively exhaled. "But I won't lie to you. The situation is serious." "What do you mean, serious?" Amanda demanded. "Is it cancer? Is it the same thing that took Katie?" Dr. Chin took a deep breath. "We found a mass in Tammy's abdomen. It's not the same type of cancer that Katie had, but it is a tumor. We're still running tests to determine if it's malignant or benign." The room went silent. Amy dropped her coffee cup, and the brown liquid pooled on the linoleum floor like a dark omen. "But she just lost all that weight," Amy said, her voice cracking. "She was doing so good. She was healthy. How could this happen?" "The weight loss was incredible," Dr. Chin acknowledged. "And it likely saved her life in many ways. But Tammy's body has been through tremendous stress over the years. The trauma of obesity, the surgery, the emotional toll. Sometimes cancer develops regardless of lifestyle changes." Chris stood up, his face red with emotion. "So what do we do? What's the treatment? What's the prognosis?" "We're going to do a biopsy tomorrow," Dr. Chin explained. We'll know more within 48 hours. In the meantime, Tammy needs rest and support. She's airy frightened. Can we see her? Amanda asked. She's asking for Andrea, Dr. Chen said carefully. But she also asked for all of you. She's scared, and she wants her family around her. The season finale was unlike anything 1,000-pound sisters had ever done. Instead of a dramatic cliffhanger, the producers chose to focus on healing and hope. The final scene took place at Tammy's home, where the family had gathered for a belated celebration. Tammy was out of the hospital, her recovery progressing well. She was still weak, but she was walking with a cane instead of using a wheelchair. The oxygen machine that had once been her constant companion was nowhere to be seen. Andrea stood beside her, proud and supportive. The couple's relationship had emerged stronger than ever, the cancer scare having solidified their commitment to each other. "I want to say something," Tammy announced, raising her glass of sparkling water. "I know this season was hard. I know I scared everyone. But I want to thank y'all for being there for me." "We'd never leave you, Tammy," Chris said gruffly. "You're stuck with us." "I know," Tammy said, smiling. "And I'm grateful for that. I spent so long pushing people away because I didn't think I deserved love. But I was wrong. I do deserve love. We all do." Amy raised her glass. "To Tammy, the strongest person I know." To Tammy, the family echoed. As they clinked their glasses together, the camera pulled back to show the Slaton family united. Not perfect, not without their problems, but together. The bombshell of the season had been a terrifying reminder of how fragile life is, but it had also been a reminder of the power of family. While the season captured the major events of Tammy's cancer scare and hospitalization, there were many moments that never made it to air. In this exclusive behind-the-scenes report, we reveal what really happened during the filming of Season 8. The tension with production. Sources close to the show revealed that the producers were initially hesitant to film the cancer scare. They didn't want to exploit Tammy's illness, a production insider explained. But Tammy insisted. She said she wanted to show the reality of her life, the good and the bad. She anted to be honest with her fans. Andrea's role. Andrea Dalton emerged as a surprise star of the season. The fiancé, who had previously been a background figure, stepped into the spotlight as Tammy's primary caregiver. Andrea was amazing, a family friend said. She never left Tammy's side. She slept on the hospital couch. She held her hand through the scary moments. She even learned how to change Tammy's bandages. She proved she was in it for the long haul. Amy's journey. Amy's journey this season was equally compelling. Behind the scenes, she was dealing with her own health issues, including a diagnosis of gestational diabetes during her pregnancy. Amy was struggling, the source revealed. She was worried about her baby, worried about her marriage, and worried about Tammy. It was a lot for anyone to handle. The rumor mill. The online speculation about Tammy's health was often inaccurate and hurtful. People were saying all sorts of things, Tammy later told us. That I was dying, that I had cancer, that I was faking it for attention. None of it was true, but it still hurt. I'm a real person with real feelings. While TLC hasn't officially renewed 1,000-pound sisters for a 9th season, sources say the network is eager to continue the show. The ratings are still strong, the insider revealed. And Tammy's story is far from over. There's still so much to explore. Amy is focusing on her family and her health. She's been working on her own weight loss journey, and she's committed to being a better sister and mother. "I want to be here for my kids," she said. "I don't want to end up like I was before." Season 8 of 1,000-Pound Sisters will go down in reality TV history as one of the most emotionally powerful seasons ever produced. The bombshell of Tammy's hospitalization and cancer scare was a wake-up call for the entire family, forcing them to confront their fears and their flaws. But out of the darkness came light. The Slaton family emerged stronger, more united, and more committed to each other than ever before. Tammy's health scare reminded them that life is precious and that family is everything. As Tammy herself said in the season finale, "I've been through hell and back. I've lost so much weight, I've lost people I loved, and I almost lost myself. But I'm still here. I'm still fighting. And I'm not going to stop now. The final shot of the season was a simple one. Tammy and Amy sitting on the porch of their childhood home, watching